Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard podcast with your hosts, Collin and Braeden Cox. And today we are joined by special guest, diehard Phillies fan, Logan Mackes. Logan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for asking. It's great pleasure to be here with some good boys from high school. So, ready to talk Phil's baseball.
Where are you coming from us today, Logan?
We are coming at you from the great state of Missouri.
Missouri. I had a buddy that lived out there. He was in a great state of misery.
That's pretty much what it is down south. So,
A lot of Phillies fans out there, or no?
So I went to Busch Stadium, I think 2 weeks ago. The Phillies were in town. I caught a Sunday game, and you'd be surprised if the Phillies fans travel. There was a decent amount there. I mean, it was a Sunday day game, so overall, it wasn't that much of a showing. But I saw a decent amount of Phillies gear for being in hostile territory.
That's cool. When did you go to that game?
I think it was 2 weeks ago. It would have been 2 weekends ago. It was a Sunday because I went up to Illinois for Penn State played at Illinois, so I went up to that game and then caught a Phillies game in Busch Stadium on the way home from that. So
that's awesome. Nice. Yeah, so we're gonna get into Phillies preview here with postseason right around the corner. So yeah, I think we get into it. So Phillies 90-72 record plus 81 run differential, and they have won 7 of the last 10 games going into the postseason. Logan, got to feel good about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good about the one winning 7 of the last 10, but I mean, some of those the doubleheader this past weekend against the Mets. I mean, I know they didn't have a lot to play for, but they kind of rebounded yesterday with a 9-2 win. Some of the guys that were cold the past week started hitting well. Alec Boehm hit his 20th home run of the year on Sunday, so that was a good sign. He was the 8th player for the Phillies to hit 20 home runs this year, so that was a big step for him. And yeah, like I said, I mean, not feeling too bad. They've been playing pretty well.
Yeah. So they played Marlins first round, obviously best 2 of 3 series. And Braeden and I both had, when we made our brackets earlier, we both had Phillies being the Marlins. We think the Phillies roster is just too deep for them. Marlins are going to be a competitive team. I think that might go 3 games. But we were talking about the advantage of playing home in Philly, and then also just their roster just so deep. I don't think the Marlins will be able to hang with them when it comes for a full 9 innings. What is your confidence level going into the first round?
So I mean, honestly, kind of the same feeling that I had going into it last year. I mean, confidence level going into the wild card round, not too high. I mean, I feel like the energy last year wasn't there yet until that top of the 9th inning in Busch Stadium. But
yeah,
this year I think it'll be like you guys said. I think it'll be a lot different, being that it is in Philadelphia. And I mean, I don't know what the MLB is trying to do. They're trying to burn down the city of Philadelphia, given 2 8 p.m. games for the wild card round. I think the MLB is glad that the Phillies are back, and I think they want the fans there. And but I mean, I could start throwing my whole analysis of the Marlins team out there, but like you guys said, I mean, the whole I think that the Phillies roster is a lot deeper, yes. Concerns for me is that they're throwing 2 lefties game 1 and game 2, so that's a little concerning. But I think the Phillies will put their best defensive lineup out there for both game 1 and game 2 behind those lefties. Yeah. And then once those lefties hop out, that's when we'll see probably Brandon Marshall come in, the lefty, and we'll see some changes once they get past the starting pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about this a little earlier. The Marlins they're not like heavy hitting like the Phillies are by any means, but they have a high batting average. I think they were 4th in the league in batting average, and then 6th in the league in hits. So they will get on base. They will make pitchers work to get them out. But yeah, I just think, like we said before, the Phillies are just too deep of a roster. And yeah, I just would be surprised if the Phillies can't pull it out, especially at home. I know last year me and you were saying that don't let the Phillies get hot going into the playoffs because they had a good roster. They just weren't really showing it in the regular season. But yeah, they got hot. They found a little spark there and made a little run to the World Series. So yeah,
that's what I mean. Even this year, like you said, I mean, don't let the Phils get hot. I mean, last year they were 22-29 when they fired Girardi. I think this year they were like something like 23-34, or 26-34, something like that. And I mean, they obviously, the talent was there. You just had to get those guys cooking. And
yeah,
I mean, we even saw. I mean, Trey Turner was abysmal the first like 5
3
months
quarters of the
year,
season.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's slacked off a little bit, but I mean, August and September, I mean, Trey Turner was absolutely wild, and it just shows that, like, I mean, the Phillies have those guys, and you just need to. I mean, if even 2 of them are clicking, that should be more than enough to beat a Marlins roster.
Yeah.
That, like you said, I mean, they don't have many big bats. Josh Bell's probably their biggest bat, who's been a notorious Phillies killer when he was on the Nationals. And then, I mean, every time I watch a Phillies-Marlins game, I swear Josh Bell's getting a big hit, hitting a deep double, or hitting it out of the park. And, I mean, that guy's a Phillies killer.
Yeah. I do think the Marlins, out of like all the wild card teams, like between the Cubs, Reds, Marlins, D-backs, I do think the Marlins are the team that can give the Phillies a run for their money a little bit. But they also had a negative 56 run differential throughout the whole year, which obviously isn't good compared to the Phillies 81. So yeah, they were able to sneak into the playoffs, but yeah, like you said, I just can't see the Marlins really pulling off this upset, especially in Philly. They're a young team. But the Phillies also have the experience edge from last year over the Marlins. So yeah, I'm hoping the Phillies get it done for you.
Yeah, that was speaking on just the Marlins again. I mean, I personally, I was talking to my buddies this past week leading up. They were asking me who I thought the best matchup would be, and the way the Diamondbacks were playing, I was like, I kind of wish we'd get the Diamondbacks. Because the way their pitching lined up, they have 2 phenomenal starters, but their starters would have lined up for Game 2 and Game 3 of the wild card series, and that's what they're doing. I don't know who's starting Game 1 for them tomorrow, but I was hoping we'd get the Diamondbacks because of the Phillies' struggles with the Marlins. The past couple years, luckily it's not in Miami, because the past couple years, the Phillies could be playing the best baseball in the world, and they go to Miami and play in front of 5,000 fans, and they forget they just can't play baseball.
Sure.
So luckily it's in Citizens Bank, and this year the series was, I mean, we're 7-6 with the Marlins, so I mean there is some concerns there, but I mean I think the fans will take them over the edge and put them. And I mean, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola inject playoff baseball into their veins, and I mean, knock on wood, they're 2 of the best 1-2 duo in baseball. When Aaron Nola's not letting up a league leading 30 home runs a year. So
yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask you. Well, 2 things really is Wheeler's not really a concern, right? But Nola, the way he played during the regular season, definitely I could see would be a bunch of red flags. So what is your concern level with Nola? Just real quick.
So I don't think my concern level with Nola is that high because like we said, I mean the Marlins aren't really a home run hitting team, and that's been his problem. I mean, obviously anything could happen in baseball, but his last 2 starts have been solid starts. He started can't remember if it was Wednesday or no. Yeah, I don't know. Sometime the end of this past week, and I think he may have started on Tuesday. Yeah, he started on Tuesday when they clinched, and I mean he pitched a great game. He didn't get the win, but they still won the game behind him, and so the concern. I mean, he's one of the, also his numbers. I saw something on Twitter like Aaron Nola's one of the best pitchers on like 6+ days of rest. I know some guys get like all messed up with. Like, I know Zach Wheeler, when the Phillies were going a 6-man rotation earlier in the year, Zach Wheeler hated that. He said, like, it messed up his mojo and stuff. But Aaron Nola's numbers are good on 6 days of rest. And like I said, playing in Citizens Bank playoff baseball, I don't think they should be too concerned about Aaron Nola. But if they get to Game 3, that's where I'd be a little concerned.
Sure. So I think we can all. I know Steve and I are on the same page, and you sound to be the same. That we think that the Phillies get by the Marlins in 2 or 3. But the concern kind of kicks in from Collin and I's perspective when they would have to face in the next round in the NLDS the Atlanta Braves. So I'm very curious to hear what your perspective on the Atlanta Braves season is. Not to steal your thunder, Collin, but what you think your odds are. Of course, I would expect you to pick the Phils in that series, but I'm just curious, what you think you're expecting with that series if it gets there.
So, like you said, if it gets there, you gotta be optimistic, right? But for me, I mean, it's kind of got the same feel as last year, because if, like Collin and I always say, don't let the Phils get hot. Don't let the Phils get hot. You're letting the Phils play. I mean, obviously pitching matchups and stuff are a thing to concern. So hopefully the Phillies could get through the Marlins in 2 games, give that couple extra days of rest for that first game which would be on Saturday. So giving those Phillies two home games, especially, to let them see like how much that means to their fans again, and let them get going. And the Braves pitching towards the end of this year, I mean, it's kind of top heavy. Spencer Strider is, I mean, lights out, strikeout king. Mm-hmm. But with, I think Charlie Morton's out, and it's just like their pitching is. I mean, it's the Braves lineup is absolutely.
The pitching is sketch. But, Logan,
but
they lead
the Braves lineup.
They lead the league in average, home runs, RBIs, runs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, on base plus slugging percentage, and hits. So I think.
Yeah, I mean,
it's no secret that their pitching is sketchy, and if there's one team that could take advantage of it, it's definitely the Phillies, right?
Yeah, I mean the Phillies are the Phillies in the past couple months are only second in home runs behind that Braves team. Mm-hmm. And I mean a week ago it was only a 3-game series, or 2 weeks ago I guess it would have been. I mean, Phillies won 2 out of 3, but like if you can stick to the same formula. I mean, last year Phillies won every game 1. Even, I mean, they won game 1 in the World Series. So and every single game 1 they were away. So
right.
And I mean it's lining up the same thing as this year, that game 1 would be away in Atlanta. Phillies would, depending on 2 or 3, I'd imagine they're looking at a Christopher Sanchez start for that game 1, which, I mean, he's got a nasty slider. But like you guys said, I mean, the Braves lineup, I mean, talk about it right now. I mean, I got mixed feelings. Obviously the Phils are my team, but I mean, it's also the Braves. But I mean, you just look at, I mean, obviously it'd be round 2, but you look at numbers of previous MLB seasons and how many top teams get to the playoffs and don't perform, because it's who gets hot and who plays good baseball and who has the pitching in the end of the year. And the Phillies starting rotation has been one of the best starting rotations this year. I mean, they kind of slacked off. Taijuan Walker hasn't looked too good. I mean, it's so good that we had a guy pitch a no-hitter, and 3 weeks later he's now a bullpen pitcher. So, I mean, you got to be optimistic about that. But
Steve and I. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think one advantage the Phillies might have if they do move on from the Marlins is that the Braves wouldn't have a game for a whole week before they end up seeing the Phils. And if the Phils, get consistent at bats, I know this could go either way, this argument. I know some people say get the rest. Some people say, you want to keep playing games. But you could look at it out of the way and say, oh, Phillies have been getting at bats, and the Braves, haven't been facing live pitching. So you never know when they could go cold, right?
Braeden, you got something?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say when Colin and I were both filling out our brackets, a few minutes ago, we both said that this is the best of any of the matchups in the NL. Right? We think that the Phillies have the best shot in the NL to knock off a team like the Braves if they see them in a best of 5. We like the Phils' chances in a best of 5 against Atlanta versus a best of 7.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could get behind that because, I mean, it would be 2 games in Atlanta, 2 games in Philly. So if you win, the same formula as last year, if you're able to
steal one in Atlanta.
Yeah. If you're able to steal one in Atlanta and bring those back to Philly, we saw it last year, Red October in Philadelphia. I mean, those were actually Game 3 and Game 4 were my favorite games of the playoffs last year. Mm-hmm. Just because that was the weekend Penn State played at Michigan. So we went out there for that game, and on Friday night we had it on the radio in the car going there, and we're celebrating on the way there. And then even though Penn State got blown out by 25, the next day we're in a bar. Everybody's in Philly stuff in the middle of Ann Arbor, Michigan, and everyone's going crazy. And I mean, those were honestly my two favorite games of the playoffs. But I mean, if they can follow the same formula, then I mean, I think there's a chance in 5 games that. And I think everybody knows that too. I think last year really put the Phillies on the map, and everybody they said playing there. All the opposing players said playing there 4 hours. It was like 4 hours of hell. It's different.
Philadelphia is obviously just a different breed when it comes to sports. Especially, I feel like I see it more with Philly fans too. I feel like they're more passionate than when you see Sixers or even Eagles fans. I'll probably get tackled for that or something. But I just feel like it's just, especially in the playoffs, like Red October is just different. I think, and then it does play a huge factor into winning games, especially against younger teams, especially in a best of 5 series or a best of 3 series with the small sample size there. I don't know if you guys ever read Moneyball, but they emphasize the fact that the playoffs are just too short of a span to determine who's actually the best team. So yeah, like I said, anything could happen, especially when if you catch lightning in a bottle like the Phillies did last year, and hopefully they could do it again this year.
Yeah, it's just who gets hot, who's playing good baseball, and who has good pitching. And I mean, I think that's what got them in the World Series. I think they ran out of gas, and the Astros pitching was just a bit deeper.
Lights out.
I think that's luck. I think that was a priority for the Phillies. I mean, I wish they would have re-signed Eflin. Eflin had a hell of a year with the Rays. But I mean, they signed Taijuan Walker, who for a lot of the year led the league in wins. I know wins aren't a credible stat anymore in baseball, but I mean, hopefully, and Christopher Sanchez, this is his first year being a consistent starting pitcher for the Phillies. He's been his slider is nasty. It's something, I don't know. It's like the second best slider in baseball or something according to the drop or the rotation. I don't know that's an analytics stiff question, but I don't know the science behind the pitch, but something ridiculous like that. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. I mean, like I said, I mean, last year and the Phillies in the playoffs, we were walking around Penn State's campus. Everybody had Philly stuff on. Everybody was in the bar every night for their games, and it was electric, even 3 hours away in college. But
that's awesome, though.
Braeden and I haven't had that feeling much for our Yankees, huh?
Yeah. Well, we don't need to. This is the Phillies episode. We're not going to talk about the Yanks unless we want to talk about.
Actually, I would like to bring I'd like to reference, tag the video here or something of the Collins why the Yankees could win the World Series video.
It's clickbait. We actually believe that? No.
I did. I had him in the World Series. I'm not afraid to admit it.
They didn't get any better from last year, but that's different topic. So Logan, tell me one reason. So it's no secret the Braves. I hate to make this more of a Phillies Braves podcast, but the Braves are the favorite. What's one reason why the Phillies couldn't beat the Braves in a best-of-5 series in that NLDS?
My one reason would be stealing one at Atlanta and bringing 2 back to Philadelphia. I mean, like we talked on a little bit ago, just having the games at Citizens Bank Park, and I mean, honestly, it's kind of I think the
I'd say
MLB
that's the
should
best home
look-
field in baseball right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be especially in October. I mean,
Who's
they
got a
didn't-
better
they-
home field in the playoffs? I can't.
Yeah.
After what I saw last year, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. But, I mean, it's like giving game 3 and 4 in a 5-game series to the team with the second best record. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, obviously, I think it works in the Phillies' advantage, but that would definitely be my one reason. My one reason would be if they can follow that script and steal one in Atlanta, and it would look like game 3 or 4 would probably be a Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola start in Philadelphia. You'd have to like your chances there.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we're running a little bit low on time. We have 4 minutes left because our Zoom, we don't have upgrade, we don't have Pro, we don't have Zoom Pro. So let's just record for 45 minutes. But is there anything else you guys wanted to say about the Phillies? I did want to say like one little thing. The bullpen does scare me a little bit. I said this in the offseason. Didn't really address their bullpen as much as I would have liked them to put them over the edge as a World Series team. How are you feeling about the bullpen, Logan? Because that comes to play a big factor in playoffs.
So I actually think the bullpen is better than last year's bullpen, just with the resurgence of some guys. I mean,
Sure.
Last year they were throwing out Jose Alvarado, Sir Anthony Dominguez almost every single big moment. And I think they still have that ability. I think Sir Anthony Dominguez has looked a little sketchy, but I mean, Jose Alvarado has looked great this whole year. Gregory Soto has looked great the past 2 weeks. He's another one that will pump you with 99 and then throw a wicked slider. Jeff Hoffman, the righty out of the pen, his career was nowhere. He was in the minors to start the year. Philly signed him to a minor league contract, and he said, I'm getting out of my contract or y'all are calling me up. And the Phillies called him up, and he's had a hell of a year. So I think the bullpen is actually one of the better ones probably in this playoffs. So hopefully the Phillies starting pitchers can go late into the games, and then the Phillies only have to bring in their gunslingers for the 8th and the 9th. That'd be the ideal scenario. That's what every baseball fan hopes for their team, but I think it's better than people think.
Yeah, there you go. Put me in my place then. So I think that about wraps it up here on
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bray.
I was just going to ask, and maybe we might be on the same page here, Steve. I just want your World Series prediction. I know it might, move away from the Phillies a little bit, but I'm assuming you have the Phillies in playoffs. So I'm just curious who you got in your World Series prediction.
Mine?
Me or Stiv?
No, Logan.
Oh, okay.
I know who
was
Steve's got.
Yeah. I think the Tampa Bay Rays will come out of the AL. Little sleeper pick there, maybe for some. The Orioles are playing good ball, and they've had the Rays number, but I think the Orioles will be too inexperienced. I think the Rays will get through the Orioles and then into the World Series. And out of the NL, I think I gotta go with the Braves. I'm honestly not too. I think it would be my honest opinion would be whoever wins the NLDS between the Braves and the Phillies, because I haven't been too impressed with the Dodgers or the Brewers. I think, the Brewers have some good starting pitchers and stuff, and the Dodgers are always the Dodgers, and you never really know what to expect with them. But my safe prediction would be the Braves and the Rays. I hope it's my Phillies and Rays, but obviously my safe bet. So if the Phillies lose, I could say, okay, I said the Braves. So I would go Braves, Rays, and then I think the Rays could get it done.
All right. So you're going
Cool.
Rays over the Braves in the World Series.
Rays over the Braves.
That's funny
Alright.
because in April I said Braves over. Actually, no, I said Cubbies over Rays. Never mind. That was a lie. I said Cubbies over Rays because I was wrong with the Cubs. All right, less than a minute here. Logan, give us your favorite Phillies memory of all time in 10 seconds or less because we're running out of time before the recording ends.
Favorite memory of all time would probably have to be, I mean, just in person, one of the greatest things I saw was Jimmy Rollins become the all-time Phillies hits leader. It was an irrelevant year in like 2014 or 2015, but seeing that in person was pretty special.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. In the Yard, Collin and Braeden, special guest, Logan Mackes. Thanks for listening. Go Phils. Hope you liked the episode. And Logan, we'd love to have you back after the Phillies win the World Series for
Yes, sir.
for a review.